Every piece of fat loss assumes you have unlimited willpower, that if you just know what to do, you'll do it. And that's not how it works. I've coached hundreds of men over a decade, smart men, men who understand calories, who understand what protein is, who've read the same articles you've read, watched the same videos probably, and most of them were still stuck. Not because the information was wrong, but because the information alone doesn't change what you eat on a Thursday evening when you're tired and the kitchen's half stocked and your brain's checked out 2 hours ago. In this video, I'm going to show you the 2 habits that sit underneath every successful result I've seen. Not what to eat, how to make eating the right things the path of least resistance. I want to tell you about something that happened to me like 4 years into coaching. One of my clients, let's call him Paul. He was 47 and a finance director, trained 4 times a week, and he ate well during the week. And every Friday he'd weigh in. He'd be like 2 to 3 pounds down. He'd be happy with his progress, but every Monday it was back. We went around this loop for several weeks. So he wasn't lying to me and he wasn't binging. And what was actually happening was much more boring than that. He'd come home every Thursday night, feeling tired, his kitchen half stocked, and he'd drift. Just slowly drift. A handful of pistachios, some dark chocolate. And he would say to himself, I'll sort dinner out in a minute. 2 hours later, he'd eat about 800 calories extra. And he wasn't even aware of it while he was figuring out dinner. With Paul, the problem wasn't food. The problem was that he was making decisions when he had absolutely nothing left to make them with. At that moment, I stopped focusing on nutrition and started paying attention to his environment. And there's something I keep coming back to when I work with clients. If food is in your house, someone will eat it. You, your partner, your kids, someone. Which means your kitchen is making decisions on your behalf every single day. But the question is just whether those decisions are working for you or against you. And most of the kitchens I see, they're working against my clients. Cookies in a cookie jar on the counter, lots of healthy bars, crisps at eye level, and maybe one lonely pot of Greek yogurt buried in the fridge at the back somewhere. So here's what I'd actually do. Spend 15 minutes going through your kitchen, not to throw everything out. I'm not asking you to live like a professional bodybuilder. I want to ask you what's sitting where you can grab it without thinking. What am I going to reach for on autopilot when I'm tired and hungry and I've got nothing left? Move that stuff away, like literally to the back of the cupboard, and hide it if you have to. Then make sure what's at eye level is something easy to grab and it fits where you're trying to go. It could be a piece of fruit, a pot of yogurt, or leftovers from last night's dinner that was well thought out. Now you're not relying on willpower, but you're just setting the game up so you're more likely to win. The second of this is default meals. I'm not suggesting a meal plan, not a strict rotation, just 2 or 3 options for each part of the day that have already been decided by you and work. So when your brain is running on empty, there's the answer. It's already there. You know what you're going to eat. And when I'm really busy, I have 8 client calls back to back with no time to think. I don't decide what to eat. I've already decided when I went shopping on Sunday, my protein oats in the morning, minced meat, beans, and a pepper, and a pre-cooked sweet potato. That's my lunch. Dinner's something like chicken, veg, and pasta or rice. It's boring, but those meals still taste good. And that's the point. They're not supposed to be complex. They're supposed to be decided. When Paul started doing this, he had 2 defaults written in his phone and the kitchen was reorganized. The Thursday drift stopped. This wasn't because he suddenly found more discipline, but because he had made the decision way before he had walked into the door. Okay, so here's something I noticed early on in my career that took me a while to fully understand. I had 2 clients with almost identical calorie targets. One of them was absolutely fine, not hungry, consistent and seeing results every week. But the other was struggling, hungry all day, thinking about food constantly, scraping through the week. So when I sat down, looked at both their food diaries in detail, I expected to find something different in the numbers, but the calories were nearly the same. And the difference was what those calories are actually made of. The first client was eating 3 meals built around protein and vegetables, like huge filling plates. The second was eating less frequently, skipping meals, having smaller portions with very little carbs. Yes, it was the same deficit on paper, but a completely different experience. The thing that a lot of people miss is hunger is the entire game. You can have a perfect deficit written on the spreadsheet. You can weigh all your meals and eat 100% clean foods. But if you're starving all day, you will eventually eat outside your plan. Nobody sustains a deficit that makes them think about food the entire day. Not for a long time anyway. Yes, protein to a point is the single most effective lever I've found for managing hunger. It takes longer to digest, it keeps you fuller for longer, and it protects your muscle while you're losing fat. This muscle will help your metabolism work a bit harder over time. And the target I find that works well for most men is around 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight per day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that's 140 to 200 grams per day spread across 3 to 4 meals. I would say 2 meals, but I've seen that not work out so well in practice. This just means you're hungry more and it's harder to stay in that deficit. It usually leads to some overeating at nighttime. I say 3 servings of protein per day will manage hunger a fair bit better. I personally have 4 servings, but one of those is a lot smaller, it's a really small meal. Now, the second part of this is volume, and this one is really underrated. Not all calories take up the same amount of space in your stomach. 100 grams of potatoes and 100 grams of avocado are very different in terms of how full they leave you. And let's say if we match that for calories, you're looking at around 300 grams of potatoes versus 100 grams of avocado. So yeah, you can see that that's going to take up way more room in your stomach. You need to look at the plate, like look how packed it is. Bear in mind that's going to go into your stomach. Obviously, you're going to chew it, hopefully anyway. Then with fiber, that all expands. What that means at a practical level is that at your lunch and dinner, half your plate is going to be veg before you add anything else. You're not having a small little pile on the side, literally half the plate. Then your protein, then whatever carbs or fats you're having with it. Breakfast should have something like fruit with oats and Greek yogurt, an egg white omelette, like egg white dominant omelette with lots of veg. It doesn't have to be elaborate or complicated. And if you snack, which I don't recommend, go for at least 20 to 30 grams of protein and some fiber. Greek yogurt and berries, cottage cheese and a pear or some other fruit, or maybe a shake and some fruit. Because if you're eating between meals anyway, make those meals, well, make that snack do something useful, actually fill you up. And when you end up with a larger volume of food for fewer calories, now you're full and the deficit stops feeling like torture, something you're just suffering through. And that changes everything because the best diet is the one you can actually stay on. Most fat loss advice fails men over 30, not because it's wrong, but because it ignores the actual reason they're stuck. It's not that they don't know about calories. It's that their environment is working against them. Their meals are leaving them hungry 3 hours later, and they're relying on motivation or discipline or willpower to get them through. All of those rely on optimal conditions, and life isn't optimal. With habit 1, you remove the moment-to-moment decisions from the equation. Your kitchen, your defaults, and how your food is set up before you're even hungry. Most of the time, this solves the equation for men like you. It's rarely ever talked about because it's not sexy and almost sounds too simple. Now, habit number 2, the actual experience of being in a deficit, it changes it. You have the same target, the same number, but now you're full, your muscles are protected, and hunger isn't the enemy anymore. I've literally seen men struggle to hit their calories because they're just too full. That's a good situation to be in. And when you get these two right, everything else just falls in place. the tracking, the training, the consistency, it all becomes significantly more manageable. Two habits. One changes what happens before you're even hungry, and the other changes what happens when you actually eat. If you get those two right, the deficit stops being a fight. And if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and watch this one next. I'll see you there.